Apologize for running late. Council ran late. Good afternoon. So this is the Arts, Parks, Health, and Aging Committee. Madam Clerk, item number 1, please.
Item number 1 is a report from the Department of Aging relative to the department's 2007-08 year-end annual report.
Good afternoon, Mr. LaBanche. My name is Marco Perez with the Department of Aging. This report describes detailed achievements and progress and of our goals and objectives for our area plan, four-year area plan. One of the main achievements that we have done is outreach to the community in ways that are not costing us additional funding. One of them, we have revamped our website. We have done also do partnerships with the County of Los Angeles to achieve better cost-effective outreach to the community. So,
Great. Does this have to be filed at a particular date?
no, it's basically, it has to be approved.
I'm going to ask, I think it's the 14th, I think it's the 14th of January, our next committee.
There is a meeting on December 17th, would be the next regularly scheduled
Regular
meeting.
70. I'm going to hold this report because I'm asking departments to come in. As you know, we're going through a fiscal challenge right now, and I want to have all departments come underneath the jurisdiction of this committee and report. So there's no need to move on this right now. We're going to hold it to the next meeting so that your general manager could come, as well as yourself, and other committee members who aren't here today could learn about your challenges today
Absolutely.
and into the future as we go through this period of time. So I thank you for the report. We're going to hold this to the next meeting.
Okay,
And I'll work with you, Madam Clerk.
okay,
Mr. Strickler will work with you as well to develop an agenda with that focus on.
with that.
Thank you. Item 2.
Item number 2 is a Department of Cultural Affairs report relative to a $300,000 donation from the Walt Disney Company for the city's Heritage Month celebration program.
Good afternoon. What you have before you is a recommendation or request to accept a $300,000 donation from the Disney Company that supports the city's Heritage Month celebrations. Disney has been very gracious and has been very good about supporting these programs, and once again is giving us an annual $300,000 donation to support the programs.
Great. Is this for 2008 or 2009?
It is for this fiscal year, 2008-2009.
And has all the money been spent?
The money will be spent during this fiscal year. We've got the program started in September with Latino Heritage Month. We've
Right.
got Native American Heritage Month. They will be supporting the February African American Heritage Month
So these
celebration.
are all the Heritage Months.
Correct.
Right. Is there anything in there for St. Patrick's Day?
Not at this moment, not yet.
Were you planning on
But
those?
maybe if they were to give me another $25,000 to $50,000 for those Fighting Irish, perhaps we would get them.
No, I just think it's a good celebration. We work with the Parks Department. We go from El Pueblo down Main Street to Pershing Square. So look at that and come back to see if you could find anything, and maybe in the future we'll ask them if they would like to be part of that, because I think it's a different celebration for everybody. So if you
Well,
look
we
at that.
certainly do come up with a work plan, and our regular meetings with Disney, we could raise the issue and raise your interest.
Please do, and thank them as well.
I shall.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move this forward to council. Next item.
Item number 3 is a motion from Zion Wesson relative to various actions to initiate the Reseda Pool Replacement Project.
Anybody here from Mr. Zion's office? Okay.
Good afternoon, Mike Shaw with Recreation and Parks. Currently on this pool actually went out of service last summer as a result of some of the aging infrastructure underneath the pool. Rec and Parks evaluation of the pool is that it needs to be replaced. The pool itself is over 50 years old. We started working with the Bureau of Engineering to put together a cost estimate. We don't have a final estimate on the replacement of the pool. The good news is it is only the pool. The bathhouse is actually in really great shape. We've actually renovated that facility with the Bureau of Engineering, so it's fully ADA compliant and in very good shape. So the estimate for the actual pool replacement should be a lot less than what people are normally used to hearing. The other good news is we have identified about $1 million in Quimby funds that are eligible to go to this facility. We'll be working with the councilman's office to allocate that money to this facility and hopefully use that money to leverage some grant money to actually replace.
Mr. Scholl, before the others speak, if you don't need to speak, that's okay. Can this get to council before our recess?
Yes, it can.
Okay, is there a chance, the All-Stars align, that maybe this pool could be fixed by some part of summer? Or is it a multi-month project?
It would likely be, if we were able to get, fulfill the funding gap, it would likely still not be able to open this summer. It would probably be the following summer. It is a seasonal pool.
Okay.
So we'd be probably looking at the summer of 2010 if we were able to find the funding gap.
But I know Mr. Zine worked very hard on that. So we'll approve this and go forward and get to council and put it on the work plan. Let me just ask a question. If the federal government comes up with a modern-day WPA project, this would be something too, because there's many WPA projects that the park system, and maybe even this one did in the 1930s. Would you be ready to go on this pool?
We could be ready to go
Okay.
within the time period that I've heard that's specified. I mean, we could expedite the project to get it ready to go. I mean, we could actually start, and I plan on starting the design of the facility with the Bureau of Engineering, with the Quimby funds that we have. I mean, it is Quimby
Right.
eligible.
Okay.
So, the process can start. It's just that we have to be careful we don't get too far down the process without identifying the construction money.
Great. Well, thank you, Michael. And I'm going to recommend approval. And also, you are in touch with the council office, right? Thank you so much. Item number 4, we have one public comment card from Scott Johnson.
And item number 4 is a report from the City Administrative Officer relative to an agreement with community partners for the renovation, development of recreational programs, and shared use of the Hazard Park Armory.
Scott, you want to make your comments before or afterwards?
After, please.
Very good.
Good afternoon. Veronica Salumbidas with the Office of the CAO. The item before you is a 50-year agreement with Community Partners, a 501c3 California nonprofit corporation, and the Department of Recreation and Parks relative to approximately 4-acre portion of the Hazard Park known as the Armory. The main purpose of the proposed agreement is to provide community partners with site control to the site to facilitate fundraising and commitments from other nonprofit agencies, and that is to provide improvements and recreational programming at the site. There is no direct payment or exchange of monetary consideration associated with the proposed agreement. Therefore, there is no fiscal impact, and the city financial policies are not applicable. The CAO recommends approval. Department staff are here to answer specific questions you may have.
I just want to make sure that you are prepared to help in this.
Excuse me?
I want to make sure you're prepared to help in this.
Oh, yes. Yes, we are.
And it's going to move fast, because you haven't been reviewed by the city attorney.
Yes.
So I think they're interested in getting this done. How long we've had this around now?
We've been working approximately about, directly with Legacy LA about 6 months.
Good, okay. So this is important, because legacy is an important part of the component. It's a new 84 legacy, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So thank you very much. Recommend approval to the council with the permission of the city attorney. Madam
I think you
City
have public comment on this one?
I do. You're going to speak. Thank you.
Honorable Chairperson, Councilman Tom LaBonge, my name is Scott Johnson, here to speak today regarding item 4, the item number pertaining to the prospective agreement between recreational parks and community partners. This agreement is passed by a committee approved by the full council, will have repercussions, which this will have repercussions on recreation program in the city of Los Angeles, and also on the history of Hazard, on the future of Hazard Park, in my opinion. We're setting a precedence here with this agreement. In a sense, we are contracting out recreational development and programming to a group outside the city during a time when hundreds of recreation personnel across the city are facing potential layoffs. Also, I'm also in worry about the aspect and the process which this, where we're here at today, how this transpired. Legacy LA came into the community and really only had one really planning meeting, and that planning meeting was questionable in the fact that they had to use community service time for Ramona Gardens Housing Project to get people to show up. I really feel in this process, there's really been a rush on this, but it needs to be thought out more so that more parties are included, whether it be the city employees who could have an impact by this type of agreement, and also the impact this has upon Hazard Park as a whole. And that's the root of the problem. I feel that this process did not take a holistic approach to park planning to sell a process, whether it's including the Armory Complex, the wetlands at Hazard Park, and other recreational facilities at Hazard Park. And sadly, I also feel there's a political component here at play in the haste of this project that's being done, because Jenny Caruso is spearheading this project, also has to be a proponent of the Autry expansion at Griffith Park. And I would hate to see politics come in play in this, so I respectfully submit that this agreement not be approved, and I will submit documentation for the records for today.
Thank you very much for your comment. Do you have any response to what the gentleman spoke of?
All I can say is that when we took back the armory from the Department of Defense, we did not have any set goals as far as what we were going to do with the facility. If anything, we were only thinking of using it as a maintenance yard, and so the current plans that we had at that time did not fully utilize the facilities there. What Community Partners brings into this partnership is the opportunity to bring in more programming, because one of the goals that they're required to do is to bring other nonprofit organizations to provide community programs that would benefit the community. Also, they're also supposed to bring in funding from possibly private sources to help improve the facility that's currently
The
there.
department's working with the councilman of the district?
Yes.
And Legacy, again, is legacy to the 84 games? Is that the funding?
No, Legacy LA is a new organization that is not a full-fledged nonprofit agency right now. That's why they have partnered with Community Partners, and they are acting under the umbrella of Community Partners.
But it has been approved by our city attorney
Yes.
and the things. Okay, so we're going to recommend approval. Thank you for your comment, sir. Thank you. Next item.
Item number 5 is a report from the Commission for Children, Youth, and Their Families relative to a $246,707 grant award for the Young Women from Adversity to Resiliency program.
Good afternoon, Councilman. We're here to request your approval and acceptance of this grant, allowing CCYF to receive this grant for $246,707 from the County Probation Department. This program was transferred to our department at the beginning of this fiscal year. It has been operational since that time. We're currently in 8 continuation high schools servicing about 200 young women, and we're requesting the approval of the funds so we can continue with the program.
Wait, what are you doing to pay the people now? What funds are you using now? If the program?
We're using CCYF's general
Good,
fund.
general city funds.
Yes, and we'll be reimbursed by this
All right,
grant
good,
when it
good.
comes in.
Recommend approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item number 6 is also a report from the Commission for Children, Youth, and Their Families relative to releasing a request for proposals for the management and operation of the Joey Pikus Child Care Center.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Okay, before you is a request from CCYF to approve an RFP for a period of 5 years beginning next fiscal year, July 1st, 2009, for a contractor to operate the city's child care center, known as the Joy Pikus Child Care Center. Excuse me. This RFP is to be issued without a management and living wage cash subsidy that the city has traditionally given to the contractor of the center, because the funding for that subsidy has been exhausted this fiscal year.
Say that again.
This RFP to operate the child care center is going to be issued without the traditional cash subsidy, which amounts to about $100,000 that has been traditionally issued with previous RFPs for this center, for the operation of the center.
But you mentioned something about the living wage.
Yeah, it's a two-part subsidy, a management subsidy of up to $75,000, and a living wage subsidy of up to $25,000 for the contractor to operate the center. They'd still be mandated to comply with living wage requirements. However, we don't have a funding source at this time.
Okay, and have you briefed Councilwoman Perry's office on this?
No, not yet.
Would you brief them before they come to council?
Yes,
She takes a special interest in the Civic Center.
yes.
So this is the RFP going out, and the city attorney has reviewed it?
Yes, yes. And, our whole plan was, because of the fiscal crisis, to issue this RFP without a subsidy. In the event that no qualified proposer responds, we would come back to council, and that's the second part of the recommendation, asked to extend the contract with the current contractor and asked to find funding for this purpose.
Very well. So we'll move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one comment, though, from Michelle Davis. Michelle Davis, hi. Do you support the action?
Support it.
Good.
I'm actually a parent at the center and also a city employee, and CCYF was kind enough to embrace the parents and let us help participate in the process. So we do thank them for that. We just wanted to point out we do have concerns. We think it is the most prudent recommendation, basically, that they're faced with the hard economic times and the funding source basically drying up. But we do have our concerns with the lack of the subsidy. We've been trying to prepare parents, basically let them know that most likely this will result in a substantial increase in tuition, but we're just hoping it won't outprice tuition, basically out of the going rate of the market. It seems like the market could bear, a decent increase, but I don't know enough to offset the entire $100,000 plus subsidy. So we just anxiously await and hope that we get some good bidders and move forward and really have the hopefully some stability back into the center, because a year-to-year contract going out to bid, it really isn't good for the center or for the children either. So those are
Great.
our concerns.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. Move forward with that. Thank you, Michelle.
Councilman,
Yes.
Liz Diaz with the commission. Just one other request. Can we'd like to request that it go to council forthwith, because we're
Council forthwith.
aiming to release it by
Thank
the
you.
15th.
Council forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz.
It will be in council next week.
Item number 7.
Item number 7 is a report from the city attorney and an ordinance relative to allowing park facilities to remain open for operation for an additional 1.5 hours after the normal 10:30 p.m. closing time to accommodate departmentally approved events on an as-needed basis.
Good afternoon, Councilman. Kevin Regan, Rec and Parks. I appreciated your comments about St. Patrick's Day. Do you remember what St. Patrick is famous for?
Yeah, for finding his way home.
And he chased all the snakes out of Ireland with a stick.
Right. Oh, good. Thank you.
So this ordinance pertains to allowing recreation centers and parks to stay open an hour and a half later than the normal closing time of 10:30. As you know, all parks that are not on the sunset to sunrise closure list close at 10:30. Last summer, the department engaged in a collaborative effort with the mayor's office to put on a diversionary recreational program of arts, sports, other activities for at-risk youth at a number of rec centers. And we found it to be problematic in that many of the activities went past 10:30. And as you know, we are running midnight basketball at some rec centers. So the department has the ability today to actually keep rec centers and parks open past the 10:30 closure, but it does take an approval on each and every case. This ordinance is designed to allow that flexibility for the recreation director to keep the parks open on pre-approved organized recreational programs at their rec center. So
how do we affect large parks that have traditionally been closed at 10:30? What effect would that have on large parks?
It's going to be, the effect is really going to be the same as it is today. They'll close at 10:30.
Can we add that to say that it's not including Griffith Park, not including Elysian Park or others. I think Elysian Park is 9:30 if I remember the ordinance there, but I would understand what you're trying to do, and I have a great merit in what you're trying to do, but I wouldn't want to open the door for other activities in our large parks that we're trying to manage from early sunrise to well past the sunset. The impacts that are there are great, that people would find their way to these public spaces thinking that they're open, and they're not open. So what I would like to ask you too, Kevin, is if I could understand recreation centers, but if we are specific, Madam City Attorney, if we specify recreation centers only after a completion of some community program that you would identify, that we are planning to have a midnight basketball at this rec center, and there'll be some input there, because some other impacts are there. It's often the case where you're right next to a public facility, and you do have a benefit being next to a public facility. But also, if it goes 24 hours a day or later or less than that, it does have an impact. How can we get what you want to have done, but also protect the large parks that traditionally close at 10:30, that should be closed at 10:30, that you have no facility that needs to be open after 10:30? I know sometimes in Griffith Park, the Greek Theater finishes at 10:30. People drive out by 11:30 at the latest, but there's no conducting of business. I wouldn't want to see it exercised that they would have to go later. So how do we do that?
I think the city attorney had a reason for drafting the particular wording in the ordinance the way they did. It's unfortunate. I don't think Mark's not here, right?
No, I spoke to Maria.
Could you maybe give some insight of that? And I'll say one other thing. We'll ask Adrienne to give some insight on what the city attorney was trying to accomplish with the wording. But just so we're clear, the department has the ability to keep parks open past 10:30 even today.
By the general manager's
Right, by the
order. I
general
got that,
manager,
and there's
so-
a process that they do that, and there's
Right.
some community involvement.
So I think that this would allow the flexibility, this ordinance would allow the flexibility we need as city staff to be able to facilitate these programs, but maybe Adrienne could add something.
Well, that's actually why it was drafted the way it was to give the department that flexibility to make those decisions, but there's no legal reason to not exempt certain larger areas. It was just written with the idea that administratively it would make the process easier.
Okay, well, let me ask this question here. What if we say that they're not including those facilities that do not have gymnasiums? Because we're focused on gymnasiums. We don't want to be playing soccer or baseball at midnight, do we?
Well, do you have outdoor?
Well, on the program that the real reason that this came about was a program called Summer Night Life, and that program does use outdoor spaces as well. So soccer fields, gymnasiums, basketball courts, outdoor.
I understand, but it's
and
all this,
pools.
but say it doesn't include a gymnasium. If it doesn't include a gymnasium. I
Well, I'll
don't want
tell
to
you
see.
what.
I don't want to see the
I mean,
opportunity, because here's the challenge that we have.
Right.
In parts of Griffith Park, which I represent, there's activities that people enjoy and love the park. But if it's felt that the park's threatened to have an extension of hours, not including the ones that the general manager approves based on his ability to approve them, it makes it easier for everybody to understand what the rules are. They expect at 10:30 that the observatory closes at 10, that people are out of the park. They expect that at 10:30 music stops at the Greek Theater, and people go down Commonwealth or Vermont or Western. That is an expected thing. But they would see an opportunity that would possibly call for constant activity late. That's the challenge. So you got to figure out something to make
Okay.
me satisfied.
I think in the case of Griffith Park, we have a pretty well-established procedure with both.
So do
the
you want to
Greek Theater
exempt
and the
Griffith Park right here? And I'm missing anything else in the city?
I'm sorry.
I mean, if I exempt Griffith Park from this ordinance,
Yeah, I don't know if that's the way to do it. I think what we should probably do
well, I
is
know,
this.
city
Why don't we
attorney's going to tell me how to do that.
Why
I
don't
want to
we
exempt Griffith Park. Just
come back to you with, we could talk to Mark and come back with something that tries to achieve what you're
All right,
doing.
we still have time
What you
before the
wanna
summer, so you get 30 days until the first meeting in January. Is that all right, Mr. Reagan?
achieve. It looks like it's going to have to be.
I mean,
Okay.
Maria will be working with.
I mean,
Unless
to be
we
honest
exempt-
with you,
if we
Councilman,
exempt-
just to be upfront with you,
Right.
Councilman, the department's wish is that this gets approved today. However, if that's not the case and we need to come back with.
Well, let me ask the department, could you exempt Griffith Park?
Well, we would have to, yes, we could.
Yeah, but
The
then ordinance
direction would
doesn't-
have to come from
Yeah,
the
but I want to
committee.
ask you, but I want to have you, I could tell you exempt Griffith Park, you know, but I don't know.
I don't
if
think there's any reason,
facilities
I don't
that
think there's
need-
any problem with exempting Griffith Park. We would still be able to achieve what we're trying to achieve with this ordinance.
I got
and
it,
we
but just tell me you want to exempt, you'll exempt Griffith Park.
will exempt Griffith
Yeah,
Park.
all right, so, okay, so Madam City Attorney, you're directed to exempt Griffith Park from this regulation.
Okay, and
It
then
is
with,
there.
with that amendment, move it to council?
Yeah, I don't know, between now and council, because I'll talk to my colleagues if there's any other facility that would have that impact. You know, I don't know what Elysian Park, which is a special needs recreation center, I believe.
Well, there's an, yes, there's.
Adaptive use, so I don't know if they ever have any programs in Elysian Park. I know that's partially in a neighborhood, but partially in a park road. So I'm just thinking of other parks that could be impacted in such a way. Would we want to have art late at Barnsdall? You know, I don't know. I mean, that may be something to look at, but certainly Griffith Park and the impact, because there's only 7 roads that go into Griffith Park thereabout, and I would want to see it exempt. But with that being said, let
It
me
would
call
be
on
good
some
to
public
just
comment.
exempt Griffith Park. We could do that.
Okay, public comment, if I would, before we do call them up here, I want to say that Tiffany Pastorio, a Los Feliz resident, sent an email on this matter expressing concern and opposition. Bernadette Soder sent an email. Tom Ford 57. This is modern day. It's Tom Ford. But I know, but it doesn't have his name. It just has Tom Ford 57. And Lucinda Phillips. So for the record, Madam Clerk, we have that there. We have some public comment cards and a letter from the Los Feliz Improvement Association that they have great concern for this. Keeping regional parks open until midnight could invite activity that's uncontrolled. This is so true, and overwhelm park rangers. They are not in favor of this additional half hour for Griffith Park, Los Feliz Improvement Association. Could I have Bernadette Soder and Marion Dodge? 2 minutes each.
Good afternoon, Chairman Labange. I just want to say that I'm here to express my support for the direction you just gave the Assistant General Manager regarding modifying the current wording of the amendment so that, and I want to support it also for the reasons that you have stated. I don't need to repeat them because they were spot on. I do want to say that if the amendment is intended to extend hours for the youth programs at certain rec centers, as you have expressed, I would like the City Attorney's Office to reword it to say exactly that, because the phrase park facilities and parks is too general and will produce unintended consequences. Regarding the lack of a community impact statement on this measure, I just want to point out that because of neighborhood council calendars and the need to post and coincide with the Brown Act, we will not be having a meeting until December 16th. And at that meeting, we would be in a position to approve and file a community impact statement for this measure. So my question is, will this be debated, will this go to City Council before that date or after?
Well, I think it will go before, if all this stuff's trying to end before the end of the year, to try to be posted on that.
I see.
I think it would protect the interest that you stated and other people in their emails.
Okay.
I do understand the commitment the Recreational Parks Department has, and I've been to your programs throughout the city to meet the challenges of getting young people engaged and involved in full rec centers. There's no rec center in your neighborhood that that has a gymnasium and that such, so I don't believe it would ever have that issue.
Thank you. All right, so I just want to mention that we may or may not be talking about this on the 16th if it goes to council on the 10th, or
Right.
Friday, we will not. But if not, we will forward you a community impact statement immediately.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Ms. Dodge?
Okay. Good afternoon, Chairman Labange. You sort of took the words right out of my mouth, but I'll read them anyway. The Los Feliz Improvement Association is opposed to the amendment as written. LFIA requests that this amendment be revised to reflect the fact that the extension of the hours applies only to recreation centers. And I noticed that items number 8 and 9 on this agenda are specific to certain parks. And so maybe you could work it out that this amendment could state which parks have those particular programs that need the extended hours. Because it's of great concern to our constituents, to your constituents in the Los Feliz area. keeping the regional parks open until midnight would invite uncontrolled activity that would overwhelm the park rangers, and so LFIA does not want the hours extended to Griffith Park. But I think there are Melviny, Debs, Elysian, I think that there are numerous parks that should be exempted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So with that being said, that public comment, we want to exempt Griffith Park from that. I will mention it to my colleagues if they want to, when it comes to council, add that too. I think it's real important that the department be given the ability and the tool to enhance this program of our recreation centers for young people. So instead of hanging out on Boy Scout Road in the dark at Griffith Park, they're maybe at Chateau Rec Center at 4th and Vermont, playing basketball and making relations with others in an active, positive sport.
Okay. So this is going to, so the recommendation is going to be to amend it. Our office will talk to Rec and Parks and try to ascertain what amendments, including
Right.
this
If
one.
you want to exempt Griffith Park, but if you feel, Mr. Reagan, there's other facilities, like Ms. Dodge mentioned, please share that with the city attorney, whether it's Debs Park, but Debs does have some facilities that are on the backside, I believe.
Rose Hill on the backside.
Rose Hill.
I think that, responding.
So what you got to do is look at it and then make a recommendation, but we know we got Griffith Park in there in big letters. And I will talk to my colleagues, and you got to feel out what you got to do, because I think your program is very important.
Thank you.
So, okay, so we'll go forward to council before the end of the year on that, because you want to be prepared to expand and get sponsorships and all the things that are necessary to activate that. Thank you. I saw your lovely mother last night, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where were you?
At the old police station on Highland.
Oh, good. Yeah, she's still volunteering
You're a
there.
good boy. Yeah.
Did she say I was a good boy?
Good boy, she sure did.
I was.
You was. Thank you, Kevin.
Even though some people don't believe it, but I was.
All right, next item right here in front of us is item number 8.
And item number 8 is a city attorney report and an ordinance relative to establishing the operating hours of various city parks and recreation facilities, including Dearborn Park, Hanson Dam Rec Center, Telfair Park, and Valley Plaza Park.
Well, once again, good afternoon, Councilman Kevin Regan, Recreation and Parks. And I wanted to, in case you didn't know, I wanted to introduce Ramon Barajas. He's our acting superintendent of the Valley region. And I'm sure that most of you may have heard, but I'm not sure if you did. Ron Berkowitz, who's the superintendent of the Valley region, had a pretty severe traffic accident, was in the hospital for about 2 weeks. And he's recovering at home now, but he's doing okay. But in the meantime, Ramon is going to be filling in. So
Add to the file.
we asked...
Please let me know where I can send a note to Ron and his
Okay.
work. Appreciate your work stepping in. You got Dana out there with you still?
Yes.
Yeah, Dana's
Good,
out
good,
there
good.
with us on the smart irrigation and the youth programming. So we've asked Office of Public Safety to come up with us in case you had any questions about enforcement at the parks. But essentially, this ordinance would change the hours of operation for Dearborn Park, Hanson Dam Rec Center, Telfair Park, and Valley Plaza, the Whitsett section, to allow those to be the controlled access sunset, sunrise and sunset closures. And
Good.
that
General
helps us
Services
with
supports it?
reduction of crime.
General Services, you want to say you support it?
Yes, sir.
But they're important too, is sunrise to sunset. I know
Gives them a
Weddington
good
Park.
enforcement tool.
Weddington Park is a sunrise to sunset. South Weddington, not the one with the gym.
No.
South Weddington on Universal Sunrise to Sunset. These are important tools to look at. So you guys are for it?
Yes,
Give
sir.
you a good tool to protect the public lands. Valley Region's for it?
Valley Region support.
Okay. So General Jeff wants to say a few words here. And if one of you could vacate your seat, we're going to move forward to council. And thank General Service Police. Every time I see you, I recall the great job you did in the Griffith Park Fire and helping the LAPD and the park rangers in Los Feliz evacuation.
Thank you. Council member, my name is General Jeff. I'm a community activist in the Skid Row area, and I basically want to bring to your attention about Gladys Park, which is also a city-owned park in the Skid Row area.
Right.
And we have the problem with the community that wants to extend and do more programming in the park. However, the hours of operation are closing right now at 4:30 during the wintertime and 5:30 in the summertime. And we want to be included as well. We have a program at least up to 8 o'clock, working very closely with Mike Scholl with Rec and Parks. And right now we've got Nike doing the Gladys Park renovations, installing a brand new rubber court for the
Who has gyms downtown? The Los Angeles Rescue Mission?
Yeah, the Los Angeles Mission, the Union Rescue Mission, and the Midnight Mission. Yes.
At the Gladys Park, you like to see it open a little
It's
lot.
open out, exactly.
And you're working with Mike Scholl, who's with Recreation and Parks?
Mike Scholl, very much so.
Was here, but he had to attend other matters.
stepped
Mr.
out.
Reagan, would you look at this Gladys Park, but also work with Jan Perry, the councilwoman of the district?
Well, actually, that's Gladys Park is Weezer, sir.
Forgive me?
So, just so we could be clear, the Gladys Park is not a recreation and parks facility, although we do
CRA
some,
facility?
Correct. So we do
All right,
do some
CRA, so you
programming
gotta
there.
work with them. So what we should do is suggest to Jeff.
I beg to disagree. I've been working with Mike Scholl with Nike, and Mike Scholl's office has definitely told me that this is a Rec and Parks.
Well, I know, but before I opened my mouth on the issue, I remembered when it happened that it was a CRA project. I don't know if it ever gets transferred. So what I'd like to do.
So we do some programming there, and Vicky's very involved. If we wanted to have a report back on the potential, we could have her come and speak to it.
Yeah, all right, so look at that, but also let's move forward on these others, but work with Mr. Weezar's office. We'll mention it as well to Ms. Weezar, Ms. Schechtner, so that they would know that's an interest in trying to include programming there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next item.
Item number 9 is a motion, Alarcon Reyes, relative to limiting the park operating hours of Tobias Avenue Park in Panorama City.
So once again, Councilman, similar ordinance adjustment here, and this is to add both Tobias Avenue Park, actually Tobias, sorry, just to add Tobias Avenue Park to the Sunrise to Sunset closure policy.
You know what the first Sunrise to Sunset Park was in the city?
Elysian?
No, Lake Hollywood. You know who got the idea for Sunrise to Sunset?
Say that one again?
You know who had the idea for Sunrise to Sunset?
Tom LaBonge?
A young deputy for John Farrell. Do you know what park that I saw? It was in Costa Mesa. They had Sunrise to Sunset. So I said, because the people in Lake Hollywood are having all kinds of trouble at night. So I said, why don't we do Sunrise to Sunset? So we came back with John Farrell and did that. So these are good tools. They're good tools for general services. It's easy. People know. It's very clear. Good enforceable. It protects the park. Cuts down on the vandalism. The councilman of the district supports it.
Yes, they do.
Good. All righty. Thank you. We'll move approval.
I do know, though, who the best football player ever to come out of Marshall High School was.
Mike Haynes.
Oh,
Mike Haynes.
It wasn't Tom LaBonge?
No way.
Mike on it. I'm not.
Oh, you're so nice. Very good. Good job, Kevin. Eagle Rock, though, that was good. 20-16, 1969. All right. 10th item, 10th issue.
Item number 10 is
Thank you, General Services, again.
is a motion, Zion Smith, requesting the Board of Recreation and Parks Commissioners to name the West Valley Park in memory of the late Police Department SWAT officer Randall D. Simmons in recognition of his personal sacrifice and his dedication to the community.
Ramon Barajas from Recreation and Parks, and the department supports this motion. The community wants it, and the LAPD wants it too. And this park is adjacent to West Valley Police Station. And we just dedicated the playground, so we want to dedicate the whole entire park to this.
That's great.
Brave officer that gave his life for our city.
He was a graduate of Fairfax High School. He was a great graduate of Washington State and a great member. I saw him 2 weeks before he died on Los Angeles Street, and he was a tremendous individual. So please keep me posted. I'd like to know when it happens. Will it still be West Valley, Randall Simmons, or just Randall
It's going
Simmons?
to be Randall Simmons park.
Great. Okay. Move forward to council on that. Any other public comment on this matter here?
There is a general public comment request.
All right, come on up right now. General? No, you're okay. Ms. Taylor, make your voice be heard. Here, Lisa. Very good. I just Hi, Ms. Taylor. You give 2 minutes on the clock if you'd like.
Thank you. Thank you. I did not ask for a caption because I was only going to be here for a few minutes. I would like this committee's support to approach in writing the county MTA Planning and Programming Committee so that they will take the MTA immediate needs transportation program back to the original mission. In other words, from 1992 until March of this year, MTA immediate needs gave 12,000 people, 12,000 seniors and disabled, 4 free taxi rides a month. In March, they took off 6,000 of these people, 6,000, 12,000. They're still off. And those of us who are left get only 2 vouchers, taxi vouchers, for $11. An $11 taxi ride is too much for a local ride. All the taxi drivers I take will turn the meter off at $7.25 and take the rest for a tip. And I don't blame them. But it's a poor policy. Actually, MTA staff reduced their workload by 75% by this change. So that's what was behind all of this. And MTA, if an individual did this, it would be felony level at the $5 million level. But MTA pays back more than half of the $5 million right back to MTA. They give us these worthless bus tokens. We don't need a bus token. A bus token is for a healthy 16 to 65-year-old person. We ride free. If we have a federal access card, we ride free, any bus system in the county. If we don't have it, we only pay a quarter. So what good is a bus token? I urge you, please approach Mayor Villaraigosa on this too. He's president of the MTA board. Surely you can get this restored for people. There are probably 4,000 people in LA City affected by this.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, are there any items before us?
That completes the items.
All right, thank you all for attending, and have a good holiday. Our next meeting is scheduled when?
December 17th.
So have a good days before the 17th. We may have another meeting on the 17th. Good.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank
Meeting
you.
adjourned.